He put the other guys that started all the racket and the MPs, he put them on 14 to 2, 14 days of hard labor for 14 days, for messing with him. He said, "You don't mess with that son of a bitch, we'll have World War III going here." God damn. I'll never forget that. But that Sasser looked like a Brahma bull. He was easy going as he could be. You did do one wrong thing, and he was wound up. He's gone. And that's why they kicked him out of the paratroopers. And that's no joke. He was in the paratroopers. And they all knew that he was a paratrooper. And you don't dig a paratrooper, I'll tell you what, you're going to get your butt kicked. Sure enough, those goddamn guys that I had out there, they kick him, and then he'd knock them on their ass right now. He didn't hesitate. He just bam, they're down. Oh, I had some real wild ones, I tell you. But they when it come done the work, off they went to play. But as long as you show up, don't show up drunk.
Yep.
You're not going to get by me on that. I had a good crew. We had a good crew.
Yeah.
Anyway, they found out that the commander decided to transfer me up to Orleans, and all them guys got together. They're going to have a big party, a send-off party. And the the commander, he said, "We're not going to have no goddamn party. Now Sasser's there. You're not going to have this base tore up." That's because we had a breach on the base. They decided to move me out of there because I was one of the top secret guys. Moved me out of there to Fontenay, France, to that base, and they could close that base down where I was at and move everything off of it. Everything. The nuclear warheads and all. I didn't know they did it, see. And about a month later, I called down there to get a hold of a fellow by the name of Fallon. He was a lieutenant. He was at Signal, and I went up to Fontenay, France, to do some work on some of the stuff they had up there. But he had all the paperwork on what I had to do, and it was under top secrecy. So I wanted to get a hold of him and have him wire me the stuff that I needed. And the base is closed. Nothing. There ain't a friggin' wire down there left. They cleaned that thing clean up. Well, I said, "Well, what the hell happened?" Well, he said, when you were there and you had that breach, you can only have one breach on a top secret security, and there you're done. They had to close the whole damn base and clean it out, take all that stuff somewhere else.
Oh.
And I'll tell you, I couldn't believe it. That 47 square miles of that goddamn depot, ammunition you never even dreamed of. I couldn't believe it, and they moved it out of there.
Well,
one of the guys was telling me that Coakley told me that he went down to see his friend that lives down there, that he'd been on the base, and he said, "I went over to," and they said there was nothing there. He said, "I couldn't believe it." And he'd only been gone from there probably a month before I had. But just cleaned that thing out. I said, "What did they do with the commissaries and everything?" And he said, "They bulldozed them too. They didn't give it to the French. We put them up, we took them down.
well,
We didn't give them shit. It's because of the way they are,
right.
They want you to build their cities and their towns and everything for them so they don't spend any money.
The French way.
Then they want to start a war,
Right.
and then you have to end up getting your ass kicked over.
Yep.
Now, they started that deal with the Vietnam. They took the guys, their men, out of the French Foreign Legion. They took them over there with no weapons and going to fight them Chinamen in Vietnam. They deliberately killed them men. That's a bunch of crap.
It is.
And now then they get back here, and then we get Ronald Reagan in as the president, and then he sends a bunch of our men down into what the hell was the name of it? The English were fighting them
Oh, Lebanon? Beirut?
down the other side of Cuba. The English went down there. That was their country that they had. They went down there to.
Oh, that little mini war we had.
Yeah, it was a little war. But he
yeah.
sent our men down there, and they never had no ammunition or guns either.
I remember that.
Reagan did that.
Yeah. Gosh dang it! What was the name of that little?
Oh.
I can't remember. I remember back in the '80s when that happened, but I can't remember the name of the.
Starts with the G, doesn't it?
Grenada.
Grenada.
Grenada. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, he sent them down there. All them men down there with no guns, no ammunition. What the hell was he doing?
Yeah.
Kind of goddamn president do you think he is? I mean, I couldn't believe that. Oh, big puffing up and blowing around, and garbage chaps can take down this wall and all that court shit, and didn't have balls enough to give them guns to our guys, and they sent them into battle. Jesus. I mean, he's the one that says who's going to get what, and then he turns around and does that.
Yeah.
Tell me he wasn't losing his beans. Christ. The only one that I ever knew that they never gave any backlies to was old Harry Truman.
My dad liked him.
MacArthur found that out.
Oh, my dad liked Truman.
Yeah, old MacArthur. He's over there in the Philippines and doing all this here, and then he's telling them, and the goddamn Chinamen were raising up over there in Korea then. Well, let's give me a couple of them bombs, and I'll go over there and knock their ass off. Well, Truman said, no, you're not. Well, he said, I can do that. He said, no, you can't. And I guess they got to arguing, and he got dismounted right there. Old Truman fired his ass. He's no more a general. I showed him what power could do. That was really a sore thing. You ought to have seen that in the paper. Oh, Jesus. Talking about muscle. That old boy, he was a lieutenant, I think, in the military. But he was in the old Rough Rider deal, you know.
Yeah.
But he didn't know nonsense, God damn. And then I met him. I ended out at Fort Lewis there when I got transferred back here to the 4th Division Aviation there at Fort Lewis. And I go over to the base, and the base commander over there, and he said, well, you have to check in over here. And I go up to the main office, and it was a couple brigadiers in there, and I walked by them. They saluted me, and I saluted them back. I didn't have to, but did. That's one of the things. A chief warrant officer didn't have to salute nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I walked on by them and went down, and I knew what room I was supposed to have. There was a door number. I can't remember the number now, but they told me to go in that door there and wait. The guy be in to talk to me. I walked in there, and it was a spitting image. It was old Truman's grandson, and he was a major general. A major general at Fort Lewis. And I couldn't believe it. He looked just exactly like old Harry. No damn difference at all. Yeah, we were talking there a little bit about all these things, and he said, you know, he said, my granddad talked about a guy they had in there, and his last name was Land, like you said your granddad's name was. And I said, yeah, his name was Edward Land. He said, yeah. He said, I've heard that name, and had mentioned it. Well, what about him? Well, they had him in the infantry, I think, or something like that. Anyway, he went in just as a private, just like everybody else. But most of them that went in there with him had never handled a gun. And he started them out, training them how to use a gun. In the First World War.
Gee whiz.
You didn't remember that guy talking about something like that. I thought, wait a minute. So, we're looking at the family tree there. One day, before Boots passed away, I remember my sister, daughter, went over to Ireland, and she's looking up the family tree, and they find out over there that our name has been the same, even from Ireland, and never changed it. They come over here, and then she comes up with this thing that they said over there that those people, the Barnetts over there, he said were no good at all. And what year is that? And she had it all written down and everything. I said, that can't be right. But I seen in the family tree deal there, I said, there, your great uncle was an aide to General Grant. And I said, now where are they coming up with all this shit? They're just talking. They don't know nothing. And I said, you're bringing this bullshit back and trying to convince everybody else this? And I said, what the hell's the matter with you? These people are just pissed off because people left the country over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was an aide to General Grant. And I tell you, when I flew into France, I remember I'm being there about 2 or 3 weeks, and I get a phone call from Nuremberg, I think it was, and this major called, wanted to talk to me, and he said, "Well, I understand that you're my relation." Well, I said, "Well, no, I don't know." I said, "Who are you?" He told me, and it's Uncle Tom's, one of Uncle Tom's grandsons, and he was a the hell was he? A bird colonel. And he was stationed there in Germany. Oh, I said, well, hell, you're not too far from where my brother is. He's right there somewhere, one of the bases. And why don't you go down and see him? He said, I'll do that. So he said he went down there and to see him, and Walt was in the brig. He said, I didn't walk on by. Yeah, hey. Him and some Mexican got into it. And Walt was the truck driver, and he told this guy to get the stuff off the truck so that he could move it. And that guy jumped out of the truck with a wrench and hit Walt in the head with it. And they got into it then. Really got into it. Yeah, he's in the brig. What the hell for? And they're fighting. You don't do that. You know, I said, I know how he is. He's defending himself because he had to live by me. I taught him how to fight. He was a little chicken shit. He'd always do something and then run. And I'd trap him and beat the crap out of him and make him straighten up, you know. He's 2 years younger than me. He lives over in Ontario.
Yeah.
Like I was telling your wife in there, when they showed up to the family union, he's laughing over there, and I'm sitting there in the pickup, and here comes this guy, and I told the girls, I said, by God, there comes a walrus. And my brother. I'll bet he weighs 400 pounds or 450 pounds. I need a belly on him like this, hanging away out, you know. What the hell is going on here? Come on outside and enjoy it.
We gotta get up early. It's after 9 o'clock.
Huh?
We have to get up early. It's after 9 o'clock.